Well, hello there, Facebookers and YouTubers and Instagrammers. Stevie Coyle here, Mighty Fine Guitars, Lafayette, California, with a Cinderella story today. I'm going to show you a guitar that needs a little help, but it only needs a little help, and it's going to be fantastic. So this will be the before, and we'll get the guitar buffed up and fixed up, and then I'll show you the after. The guitar is playable now, and it is fantastically gorgeous. It is I'll show this side first. Brazilian Rosewood, 1968 Martin D35, three-piece back. The 35 had the three-piece back. Originally, well, at least one of the reasons they went with the three-piece back is they couldn't get pieces of, in 1968, they couldn't find pieces of Brazilian Rosewood wide enough to do a whole dreadnought body, book-matched, a two-piece back. So they said, why not go with three? Sometimes it had Indian Rosewood on either side and a piece of Brazilian in the middle, sometimes vice versa. This one is Brazilian, all three pieces. How about that? Oh, hello there. Let me make sure that things are happening here. Thanks for tuning in. All of you, both of you, one of you, whoever it is at the moment. Come on now. If you're there, raise your hand. I'm not sure that we're rolling out here. You know what, kids? I'm going to start over. I think. Let me check and make sure. Well, this is very clumsy. Well, it looks like some people are there. I'm just not showing it on my Etch-a-Sketch here. There we are. Sorry about that, kids. Operator error, as they say. Operators are standing by. This thing is so beautiful. 1968. It's been taken very good care of. It's got one kind of fairly substantial ding on the lower bout here. But what the heck? 1968, that's got to be like 10 years ago. All those years ago, and it still looks like that and sounds like this. This is one of the bassiest guitars that I played in a long time. Now you may ask, and you may well have asked already. Ask it again. Stevie, what's wrong with that guitar? The problem is the typical problem. The neck needs a reset. Any Martin guitar of this era, after about probably 25 years or so, probably needed a neck reset, which is to say that the string pressure of a flat-top guitar, as opposed to an arch-top guitar, the string pressure of a flat-top laptop, I almost said a laptop guitar, of a flat-top guitar pulls up on the top and up on the neck. So after time, and after the way these were frequently strung with medium gauge or even heavy gauge strings at the time, I don't think you can even get heavies anymore except specialty, string by string. I don't know if they even make a heavy set. I hope not, because boy, they screwed up a lot of guitars. The thought at the time was that heavier strings make your guitar sound better. Ooh, I don't know. Sometimes a really heavy string will put so much pressure on the top that it kind of freezes it and keeps it from vibrating properly. Depends on the guitar. Guitars are wooden boxes. They're hugely variable. But this one, when it came in, had really, really light gauge strings on there. And I thought, well, these are light gauge strings, but we'll take a look and I'll change the strings out and we'll probably be okay. I put on a set of regular light gauge strings, and the neck really did come up quite a lot. So even though the strings don't look like they're awfully high off the fretboard, they're high enough off the fretboard that for a guitar of this ilk, and it has an ilk, should be repaired, and the neck is like 35 years overdue for a neck reset. You can still play it, especially down here in first position. It's okay. It's a little stiff. Gets pretty stiff in the middle of the neck. By the time you get up here, you're starting to get a little bit out of tune. The intonation is not so very good. What a thunderous sound, my goodness. That's really something. So, that's the Cinderella story aspect of this, is that we're going to get this fixed up. The owner of this guitar has agreed to go ahead and get the neck reset, which is not an inexpensive proposition, but it's not the hellish proposition that it used to be, and terribly risky. Even with light gauge strings, this guitar really sings. When the neck is reset, I might try with medium gauge strings, because some people, bluegrassers in particular, might really like the ability to hit those strings good and hard and not have them rattle at all. But I'm thinking maybe even light gauge strings with that crossover bluegrass set that I used to use, the EJ19 in D'Addario lingo. Sorry, we're getting esoteric here, non-guitarists. Wow, thunderous guitar. Really thunderous, really gorgeous. There was a little problem with the binding that Scott next door at La Marinda Music fixed up real nicely. There was a little crack here and a little piece of missing binding. It's all fixed now. The guitar is in spectacular shape, and it got played a lot. Sometimes guitars that got played a lot, you can tell. This one has been around the block because there's some crazing on the finish, which I don't mind at all. I don't think a lot of Martin owners mind some crazing on the finish. They tell the story. They tell the story that the guitar got played. And a couple of dings here and there. But all together in really great shape. Boy, I could play just those two chords all day. I won't, but I could. Immensely satisfying. Yeah. As it turns out, those original strings that were on here when it came in were probably extra light instead of lights. And when I put on just a regular set of lights, whoop, the neck really sort of came up. Now, what this involves, and Frank Ford, I think, God rest him, just passed away recently down at Griffin Stringed Instruments, Palo Alto, California, a saint in human form, if there ever was one. Wonderful fellow. Kind of developed and promulgated this principle of resetting necks by popping out a fret, drilling a tiny hole in the space underneath the fret, the slot, the fret slot, and pumping steam in there with a little espresso coffee maker and some surgical tubing and a bicycle, or rather a basketball inflation needle. And that would soften up the glue that was used at the time here and would allow the fingerboard to come away. I tell you, though, the first time I heard a guitar neck come off there at Griffin, I just about plotzed. I was making a little lunch there in Cafe Foldo, a little corner in back of Griffin Stringed Instruments, and all of a sudden there was this god-awful crack, and I thought something had broken, or somebody had broken themselves badly. It was a frightening sound. But Frank said, "Yep, good, calm as anything, cool as a cucumber." Yep, that's right, holding the guitar in one hand and the neck in the other hand. Yep, just as I expected. He did thousands of these and taught thousands of people to do of luthiers to do their thousands of guitars. So resetting a neck isn't the big deal it used to be. It takes extreme skill, but it can be done. Frequently, what used to be done when the neck started to come up on guitars. Forgive me if you know this already. This is for the neophytes here. When the strings start to come up, way back when, because there was no truss rod to adjust, and adjustments at the nut were only available at the nut and the bridge saddle. The saddle would get shaved down. They'd pop out the saddle, this little piece down here, shave down the bottom of it, and that would lower the string somewhat. Well, you could only do that so much before you were right down where the saddle was right next to the bridge. This is the saddle, the little white bit, and the bridge is the brownie bit, or black, depending on the wood. When you got down to having the saddle sitting right on next to the bridge, first of all, you're losing sound because you want to have some sort of fairly steep break angle across the bridge saddle going down into the top of the guitar so that you've got some nice up pull on the guitar, and it activates that top. And this is where all of the sound of the guitar gets generated, is from this vibrating the lower bout and the sounds coming off the lower bout and some coming out of the sound hole. Well, when you got the saddle down, sitting right on top of the bridge, all you could do was shave the bridge down. And there are an awful lot of Martins from the 60s, in particular, 50s and 60s, where that happened. Sometimes they'd pop the saddle out and move the saddle to accommodate a steeper break angle. And intonation got really screwy. There's lots and lots of guitars from this era that have vastly greater problems than needing a neck reset. This one is not inconsequential, but it's not a huge problem either. It's a matter of resetting the neck. The saddle, the bridge, everything's in the right place. Martin had a problem with bridges in the 70s. Boy, I see those blue plastic Martin cases from the 70s coming in the door, and I think, oh boy, I'm going to have to be one of two guys on Antiques Roadshow. I either get to be the guy that says, oh my gosh, do you have any idea what you've got here? But much more frequently, seeing that blue case from the 70s, I would have to be that guy on Antiques Roadshow that said, oh, I'm sorry, it's not what you think it is. Take it home and enjoy it with your family. Or spend a lot of money getting it fixed. And even then, it probably won't be worth a lot. Be maybe a great player, but dollars-wise, probably wouldn't be worth a lot. It's not to say the guitar would not be a worthy guitar. Of course it would. Martin's made great guitars, and most of them were really, really good. But the 70s was a dark period where Martin was forgetting that their bridges, or rather the jigs that they were using to place the bridges on the tops were wearing down. They were made of wood, partially made of wood, and they were wearing down, and the bridges ended up in the wrong place. So what the upshot of that was, guitar sounded pretty good in first position. Down here, down this way, I'm not talking Kama Sutra here or anything. Down here in cowboy country, guitar would sound okay, but the minute you got above the third fret, ooh, things would sound a little out of tune. You'd spend a lot of time twisting knobs up here thinking, well, what's going on here? That's because the string length was incorrect because of that placement of the bridge, the misplacement of the bridge, saddle in particular. And you were kind of skunked. You had to do something drastic. And I've seen lots of Martins come in where the bridge had been moved. You could see there was a tan line, they say, where the bridge had been moved to accommodate that. And then sometimes the same bridge would be shaved down to accommodate the fact that the action, the distance between the string and the fretboard was getting too great. How many of you knew all of that already? Raise your hands. Yes, I know. But I'll just go back to playing this thing a little bit. So Cinderella here, once she's all fixed up with a neck reset, that'll cost somewhere between $750 and $1,500 depending on the builder, depending on the luthier. Totally worth it because the guitar then will be worth and will probably sell in the neighborhood of 10,000 American dollars. Yeah, up here it's a little rough on the old grip. Oh, yep, I'll be there. I'll be right there. Somebody rapping at the door. Somebody ringing the bell. Open the door, let them in. That's what I'm going to do. Stevie Coyle here at Mighty Fine Guitar, signing off. If you have comments or questions, post them down below. Like I usually try and say, this goes live to Facebook. Then I send it over to Instagram and to YouTube as well. And the YouTube channel is Stevie Coyle Music. Sign up over there because there's not only guitar reviews from Mighty Fine Guitars, there's performance videos from various bands and solo offerings. There's strange and startling things I've found myself. Some of my favorite guitarists live over there. Take a look if you get a chance. That's Stevie Coyle Music at YouTube. What else do I need to tell you? The Quitters are headed back out. Glenn and I are headed back out. Sister Godzilla Marie sitting right there. Me and what? Stop that. Are headed back out, and I think our first set of gigs is in Oregon. So check out quittersduo.com. We're firing back up for the summer. Got quite a lot of stuff happening. And things are happening here at the shop. If you want to stop by, I'm in the heart of Lafayette, California, East Bay. It's kind of between Orinda and Moraga, if you know where that is. Kind of on the way to Walnut Creek, if that makes any sense at all. Stop in if you can. If I do say so myself, it's a lovely shop. And you're welcome to play any and all of the guitars. And if you live in the neighborhood here and you want to take a guitar home overnight, write me a check, in case I need to cash it. But by all means, spend some time with the guitar. Come in here and spend some time with the guitar. There are various places around the building here where you can go and have your own sonic space. So stop in if you can. Check out the website, mightyfineguitars.com. And once again, the YouTube that I'm really kind of focusing on today. Head on over, and if you got room for one more subscription, subscribe to Stevie Coyle Music over there at youtube.com. And I'll see you one place or the other. And in future weeks, it'll take probably a month or two for me to come back with the rest of this Cinderella story. Cinderella here is going to get a neck reset, and it's going to be a glorious thing. This is going to be a glorious guitar when she comes back. All right, then. Down the road, everybody. Your old pal Stevie Coyle signing off. Bye-bye. Dee, 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 dee.